5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. That was a little off, but whatever. Forgot about that confirmation box. Alright, this is Hugh. Story dump right at the beginning.
Dearest Hugh, I've had the most dreadful luck. I feel terrible that you've been left alone this time. The traitorous Dr. Gray tried to steal the animal spectrum, a ring I developed to allow perception and alteration of colour. Some call them impossible colours. Impossible for Dr. Gray, maybe. Anyway,
They had the echo problem with the last run, too. They fixed it.
And became visible. The ring, it fractured, scattering coloured shards far and wide. I stayed at home for many weeks, watching, waiting, existing on this coloured plane. I couldn't speak to you, nor interact
There's nothing
with
I can do
anything
about
in the
that.
world. So I left. I left for the university where I hid away the coloured tools I had created. I pray you have found what is left of the ring.
Okay, so that sets up the story for the game. We exist in this world without color, and Hugh's mother has developed this device to manipulate colors in the world. And our task, in addition to finding our wayward mother, is to reassemble the device. Here's the first piece, blue. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about the echoing, because for me it's not echoing. I'll try to collect all the letters I can along the way. Here's the next one.
Since the beginning, we have pointed to the sky and declared it blue. It is this shared vision, this unquestioned understanding which connects us. But are you really seeing blue the same way I see it?
I don't know why my bitrate is dying. I'm dropping like
Blue is
thousands of
more than a shade
frames.
grey to you. Perhaps everyone in this world
Hopefully
sees
that will
nothing but
stabilize.
shades of grey. Don't you see, Hugh? This is why we're here.
So you just mash through the miner's dialogue, and any percent you would hit restart level here to skip this animation of him shuffling off screen, because it takes 1,000 years, but the restart level button is specifically restricted from the Warpless category, because it is used in a handful of instances as a warp.
When you enter a cave expecting a waterfall, the chances are your expectations will be met. But if you discard those expectations, don't you think instead the cave will be full of surprises? I ask for you, Hugh, to abandon your expectations, to pull me back from the brink of unreality. I need you to see the world not
It's
for
not
what
lag,
it
it's
is,
frame drops.
but for what it can be.
I have dropped 1,826 frames, which is kind of ridiculous, but it appears to have stopped now. So I've kind of been trying to be quiet for the story bits at the beginning. It's not quite so story heavy the more the game goes on. The major movement tech in the first area and throughout the game really is bunny hopping. You know, you jump again right as you hit the ground. Anytime you go up an incline, you want to bunny hop. It doesn't make a difference either way on flat surfaces. There's a little bit of tech there. You don't have to pull that box all the way away from the spikes, even though it looks like you do. There's a really finicky skip in this room I'll try a couple of times. And, oh, yeah, can't do restart level, I forgot. That would have made the run invalid. There. That's what it should look like. I think the intended solution for this run is to pull that box. It's faster to push it. Relatively new skip in this room that I did not do successfully. There. That's what it should look like. Yeah, that happens. It depends on the community, Spider. Alright, so we already had our blue shard. We're going to collect our next purple shard. Our next color shard, which is purple. Yeah, I actually felt kind of bad about My old world record for this category, it had a ton of frame drops in it, but one of the other mods did verify it. I actually kept my local recording of it for quite some time. I think I maybe even still have it, just in case it was required. But I've gotten a better time than that run now, so it's irrelevant.
Did you know, Hugh, that purple is at the very end of the visible spectrum?
Yes, Mommy, you've told me that
It's
hundreds
the
of
hardest
times.
colour for our eyes to distinguish.
Lel.
Now, imagine a shade.
This is ladder
one
bunny
step
hopping,
further
just
to
like
purple.
bunny hopping
A
up
colour beyond what we can
the
actually
little
perceive.
cutout steps there.
We call
It
these
beats the
impossible
pants off
colours.
of just climbing the ladder.
And I fear that this is where I currently reside.
Hey, Odysseus.
If reality is rooted in our perception, and you cannot perceive me, do I even
Well,
exist to
I
you?
disagree.
I'm sure that I do. I
My
mean,
testing has borne out that
you're
it
reading
is,
this letter,
and it's not any
or at least
harder
I
to
hope you
do.
are.
So,
I'm sorry, but
you
existing in
know,
this strange state of impermanence,
I'm gonna keep doing it. You do what you want.
it makes you question what is real.
So the puzzles in this section are very simple. They just introduce the mechanic of switching from one color to another and what that does to your surrounding area. Oh, I haven't even really mentioned the color mechanic of this. You have the ability through the annular spectrum, the device developed by Hugh's mother, to manipulate the background color of the various rooms, and doing so will make objects of that color disappear. And that's how the puzzles work. Hey, Sindoris. Yeah, the second boulder skip went right. The first one, not so good. Yeah, I definitely would have reset if this was a PB attempt, but of course it isn't. It's a marathon run. Yeah, he was swole AF. Next color shard is orange. Anytime you grab a color shard, the exit door for the shard room is the same color as the shard you just grabbed. You can see we don't see the door, but when I switch to a different color, hey, there it is.
The university gardens were bathed in an earthy orange light when I first met Dr. Gray. Summer had come and gone, and a cold autumnal crispness had caught me off guard. I sat on the grass, surrounded by my books and papers, when a cool breeze threatened to blow my notes across the lawn. A page escaped my reach and took flight. A man not much older than myself chased after it, catching it on his third or fourth attempt.
Yeah, I used to jump when going downstairs because it looks cool as heck, but
He started
it
talking
actually
and I
is
was
slower to do it that
aware
way.
of my work in the university journal.
You don't want to jump, you just want to walk or run down the
We could
stairs.
work together someday. It's funny, Hugh, how something so small can change so much. Dr. Gray soon became my assigned mentor, and I can't help but feel he somehow had a hand in it.
Yeah, the letters aren't quite
Our
supposed to
fires
come
burned
this
brightest
fast and
when we worked
furious.
together.
It's only because I'm solving the rooms
like
this
we could
fast that
achieve
they
anything.
are.
We discovered more about colour than I could ever have imagined.
Get on that,
We
Stryzer. It's
split
an
light,
awesome
mapped
game.
spectrums, we painted. We laughed. We worked long hours, and soon our goal became all-consuming. We were vessels. The work became more important than us, and we knew it.
By the way, ick, people are more important than work. This is one of my favorite stretches of the run. The movement is just so good. Hopefully that's okay. Yeah, that was a little awkward, but it's fine. Yeah, I've seen this room befuddle many a casual player. I know some people say they can't watch non-speedruns of their speed games. I love watching casual playthroughs of this game. Now, in the full any percent, this room would be skipped with a glitch we call death warping, which is where you die going backwards through an entrance door. It's not quite as complicated as it sounds, but it's close. obviously, since this is the Warpless category, we're just doing the room. This is a fairly long and tedious one. This is one of the, the Death Warp itself is a little picky, but when you get it, this is definitely a good feeling to skip this room. Because for the price of one death animation, you skip all of that. I'm going to do an optimized solution in this room. The game expects you, I think, to use that purple area on the left of the room, but you do not have to. You can also Death Warp in that room. It is slightly faster than the solution I just did. Those skeletons have some wisecracks if you jump into them, but we can't wait around and do that, not in a speedrun. You can jump over these boulders. It is both faster and easier to simply shift and run through them. You can jump over 2 spike pits there. And we're at our next color shard, which is pink. This room rocks. Yeah, pink is the midpoint of this area. Even in the full any percent, you would not warp out here because there's nowhere to go if you go back to the cave hub. You would just have to, if you did by, say by accident, you would just have to do the last few puzzle rooms all over again.
It's funny. I don't remember much after that day on the grass. I do know that Dr. Gray and I spent many a time together. I would compliment him on his work, and his cheeks would flush with a pinkness. He'd notice and change the subject, embarrassed. This work we were doing together, it didn't feel much like work anymore.
I love how this room is optimized. Lots of movement that you would never really do in a casual playthrough. That's another thing I haven't really mentioned is the jump pushing. Anytime Hugh is pushing is always faster than pulling. With a few exceptions for where strategically it makes more sense to pull. But if you have the choice, pushing is always faster than pulling. Jump pushing is faster than not jump pushing. So if you have a low ceiling above Hugh's head, or if the block you're pushing is 2 units high, you should jump push it, and that moves Hugh faster than simply pushing. And I was a little surprised when I watched casual players do this room. There are more solutions than I was first aware of, but I just do the one that's I've done 1,000 times, even if it may or may not be the fastest one. I'm pretty sure it is, but I don't know for certain. And you do not have to line these pillars up below the gaps exactly. I used to waste time doing that. And you can push them both at the same time doing that. Keep pushing in stride, which is very nice. Up and over. You again don't need it fully lined up with the gap, just that is enough. And you're out of here. Next up is in Italic's favorite room, Kappa. This is the first little bit of tech I contributed to the run, the skip in this room. Thank you, Mannix. You're expected to put that orange block in the top right corner in the spike pit down there, but you don't have to, which I will hopefully eventually be able to show you. I got a little bit caught up on the wall here. Yeah, there are wall jumps you can do in this game. You never want to. They just stop your progress. Son of a ding-dong. Okay. This might be bad. Yeah, as you might guess, this is a major reset point when you do runs for PB attempts. This skip is not terribly low percentage, but, I mean, look at me. And I really don't even remember the best way to do the optimized solution for this room. The intended solution for this room. You've got to be kidding me! I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong here. See, I have a visual cue for when to turn back. You can't just hug the wall on the way down. You need to be moving horizontally into the little safe area on the bottom. Okay, I'm gonna get this, but I'm already embarrassed by how many tries it's taking. Yeah, total relaxation mode for the rest of the run because I know I'm not gonna PB or anything. Holy God! This is as bad as I've ever been at this. Ever since it was added to the run. Well, Modicius has his little buffer strat that involves pulling up the color wheel. I've never found it necessary. Maybe I should learn it for marathons, though. Okay, thank you, God. First try, lil. Alright. This room is ordinarily skipped with a death warp, or I guess not ordinarily, but in the any % run. I think the solution is kind of fun too, so I'm glad it's preserved in some form. Yeah, but it's slower, Modicius. So that's why I would only do it in a marathon. I would never do it in a PB attempt because, you know, in PB attempts, I don't mind just resetting if I miss that. This room, I don't know if I was just sleepy or what, but in my first playthrough, I failed this room so many times. I ended a stream session here, and there's really nothing tricky happening in this room. It's very straightforward. Very, what you see is what you get. This is a room I am not particularly good at. But it should be alright. Yeah, you want to get the blue block inside the orange block there, so you can push both at the same time. Yeah. I don't like having the blocks on top arranged like that. I like having the black one in the middle. But it's fine, just have to do that. Alright, we get our next color shard. Which is red. Forgot for a second there. After this one, you would ordinarily warp back to the cave hub in the Warpless run. The Warpless run restricts the warp glitch as well as the developer intended warps by using the game's map. Those warps are something that a lot of casual players don't know about. I certainly didn't know about them in my first playthrough. Only when I started, you know, watching existing runs and all that to learn the tech that was out there did I see that function, and it was like a holy crap kind of a moment.
For dark and for light. The first colour described afterwards is always red. The colour of blood and wine. The colour of anger. The anger I felt when I was told my experiments had gone too far. When Dr. Gray sided with the university, stopping my research altogether. For all our languages, for all our ways to communicate. It's funny how sometimes we simply cannot. It leads people to do things they regret, to steal, to break,
Yep, wrong way.
to forget what is important.
I do that a ton. I run the wrong way going into rooms. You'd think by now I would know the order the puzzle rooms come in, but I don't.
Once a seed has taken root, it doesn't take long for it to grow, to nurture and blossom into something beautiful. The seed of knowledge was planted in my mind, and I wasn't prepared to let it wilt and die. The university claimed my experiments were unethical, that altering the fabric of our reality was dangerous. They were unflinching.
Yeah, I saw that in your
My
PV
research
history in
confiscated
italics
and my
that
contract terminated.
whenever it was that you did
Following my
introduce the
research,
map
there was
warps to
no
your
choice
any
but to
percent,
uproot
it was like,
and
welp,
move us both
I
far
think we
away.
can get rid of the lighthouse split
I
now.
moved a small fishing village a boat ride from the university, where I hoped my reputation wouldn't precede me. You and I moved into a humble home, which is now where you've spent most of your childhood.
And I think I make this room a little bit more complicated than it needs to be, but my solution works, so eh. You just have to get different colors below corresponding to the blocks above and shift to orange and not purple. This room here, I don't entirely understand. There's different cycles you can get, and I don't understand what makes you get or not get the fastest possible cycle. See, that's the fastest possible cycle, but sometimes you don't get it. Yeah. Jump pushing. Get this across the gap. Now, there is a glitch we are working on replicating called Spike Jump, which would trivialize a lot of rooms, including this one, if we could get it consistently. It has happened on accident to a few runners, never to me. And it's just what it sounds like. You fall on the spikes and you jump off them. Not something that is supposed to be possible. But there are clips out there. I can save a bit here by manipulating the ability to move Hugh in mid-air. Actually, a lot of the speedrun tech for the game is based on that. 3 jump pushes, and then just push it the rest of the way. That means the thwomp won't fall and kill you. Let's see if we can get the cycle skip in this room. Maybe, maybe. Nope. So this is the expected solution. But you can conceivably skip that cycle, and it saves a couple seconds if you do. I believe all of my current PBs have that skip. I do have all 3 world records in this game, hashtag humble brag. Any percent, the Warpless any percent, and the 100%. The 100% recce is really terrible. There's like no tech in it. Well, there's tech in it, but no modern tech, and I set the record in a no reset run. So if you like actually tried to grind that run to be good, I'm sure the time could be, I don't think it could be sub 1 hour, but it could definitely be better than it is. No, it totally is a thwomp. Modicius actually discovered that in the game's code, that even the game's code refers to these things as thwomps. I just called them that because they reminded me of thwomps from Mario Brothers, but it goes a little bit deeper than that. Neat little trick there, you can move that block to the bottom without having to snake it into those little safe areas on the sides of the thwomp platforms. Yeah, I don't think the boulder speed is variable, it just doesn't start at its full speed. Next color shard, dark blue. And And I've definitely, as I've watched casual players stream this game, definitely come across many who think assembling the color wheel is the end of the game. It is not. It is a little bit more than the halfway point, but not much more.
Do you recall those dusty old tomes that used to sit on my desk? The ancient scriptures of civilizations lost. I spent hours poring over them,
Don't fall.
searching for clues to support my research. Aside from their wonders, one thing stood out above all else. Blue. Or specifically the absence of it. Other colours were detailed at length, but
There's
not
some
blue.
finicky movement in this
It
next
was never
section.
mentioned at all. The word simply didn't exist. Could they not distinguish blue? Without a word to describe it,
That's good.
how could we be sure they could see it at all?
And that, by the way, has basis in fact. That little rant about the ancient civilization who couldn't see blue. You know, writings... that's not gonna work. Lol. Writings left behind by, I forget which civilization it is, but it's one of the civilizations who lived in what we would now call Greece. You know, the Cretans, or the Spartans, or the Minoans, one of those. Their writings indicated that they could not distinguish the color blue. So even though Mom's little speech there gives no real specifics, what she's talking about actually does have a basis in reality. Oh yeah, and it's Alex, I remember hearing about that when it happened. That was very cool. This room used to end a lot of runs for me. It used to be very Monk-esque. Not so bad anymore. This room has a skip in it that I found in my first playthrough. I was very pleased with myself for that. Sadly, the existing runner community already knew about it, so I wasn't able to introduce it to the game, but I'm still proud of myself for finding it in my first playthrough. Now watch me botch it. There we go. You're expected to put a block in that spike pit. You do not have to. You can move Hugh around in midair. And just grab the key and fall down on the safe side. This room's pretty straightforward. The one thing is you definitely want to shift to red there instead of just whatever color, because of the red balloons on that block. If that block is at its highest height, it will waste time lowering if you hadn't shifted to red. I like to call this the Indiana Jones room, because to me it evokes, you know, the scene in the Indiana Jones movie where he's running from the big boulder. Less commonly, I might think of this as the Dying Light room. If you've ever played that game, the parkour trainer at the very beginning refers to when you're out amongst the zombies saying, if you stop, you're probably dead. And that's very much the case in this room. Alrighty. Oh, I find this game very relaxing, even in a speedrun setting. You know, even when I'm grinding out runs and missing skips and hating my existence, this game is relaxing. So we got our next color shard, which is yellow. The next section of the run is perhaps the most tech-heavy and difficult.
Spring is around the corner.
I guess not so much in the
Yellow
Warpless run,
daffodils poked through the dirt in our
but it is
backyard.
still pretty
As
tech-heavy.
time moved, my resentment slowly slipped away.
Yeah, I would say in the full any percent run, and here I go talking over the letters, that green section is the hardest and most tech-heavy. Probably in Warpless University 2 is.
I watched over you. I was on the cusp of a breakthrough, and you were the last person left to see it. I was so excited for the both of us.
Breaks your computer. Oh no. And the one thing that makes this section very tech-heavy? Freaking lasers. Let's go.
My research led me to tales of a long-lost civilization. They built great machines, pioneering electricity many years before we discovered it. Strangely, though, this civilization is said to have felt no pain.
This does not have basis in fact.
And observed it, yet could not experience it themselves. Explaining to them the sensation of pain is like me explaining colour to someone that can only see in black and white. I wonder, Hugh, if we will be able to share in our experiences of colour.
Yep. Yeah, I practiced this section earlier because this is where my save file was when the restreamer needed to check my audio levels and whatnot, and it went pretty much perfect. So watch me muck it up now. I guess this next room did take a couple of tries in the practice, but everything else went pretty much perfect. Yeah, we have a skip in this room. Pretty cool. You basically do none of the puzzle. I messed this up. Yeah, we want to be able to jump past that pink laser. It's one of the bigger single-room time saves the run has, but I did not do it correctly. So I'll just do this the boring, slow way. Rip. Although I guess after however many tries that skip earlier, tech being safe is not the worst idea in the world. Alright, you only get one shot at this next room. If you reload the room, the platforms are not on the correct cycle. So you only get one shot to do it that fast. And I'm gonna mess this up. No, I didn't. Okay, that was a little bowling shoe ugly, but it worked. Yeah, we call that room Laser Madness. Pink. Yellow. Pink. Yeah, this room is skipped with one of the more finicky death warps in the any percent run. But it's so fast to retry it, and you can see how long the room takes. It's definitely a great room to have a skip for, because it's a pretty lengthy one. There's no real tricks in this room, but it is definitely highly optimized. Nah, I jumped about the perfect frame there. If I jumped a frame later, I might have been wrecked. Got held up by the fourth wall up there. If you do that top section correct, none of the four walls will hold you up. I got past 3 of them. Nothing too tricky here. Although, having said that, I've seen this room just completely mystify casual players. Yeah, the strats in this section are so cool. They're even cooler in the full 90% run. I mean, I'm glad we're doing Warpless. I do think Warpless is the better showcase run, the better marathon run, but there's some amazing strats from the full 80% that we're not showing in this run. Alright, last color shard, which is green. Yeah, verbally calling out colors for the color switches is... I don't think I do that too much anymore. Have I been doing that? But yeah, it's definitely something that happens. Yeah, and this is a big part of the reason why Warpless is the best showcase run, is the lighthouse. We would skip this section entirely. You know, I've referred to skipping other rooms with death warps. We would still see those rooms, and in some cases do parts of them. We would not see any of this area in the full any % run. You would map warp back to the town and go on to the university. I suspect this may have been a developer oversight. I don't know if these rooms were meant to be wholly optional.
Was I alive? My senses dulled from a lifetime of monotone, struggled with the revelation.
My ladder bunny hops have been very bad in this run.
Like Pollock painting a ballet on the moon. I removed the ring and time slipped back to normal. Colour dissolved into grey. It was overwhelming. But what followed affected me the most. After seeing in colour for the first time, when everything returned to normal, I could remember in colour. I had never before had a coloured memory.
There is a double laser skip you can do in this room. I can't do it consistently enough to do it in a run, so I really don't even try anymore. New-ish solution to this room that Modicius found that is very cool. Nope, we never turn the lasers off. You're expected to in the intended solution, I think. This room. I have seen this room confuse the hell out of casual players, and I just don't understand why. It is the most simple, straightforward thing ever. I see them try to, like, move the box back and forth with the lasers still on, and all you have to do is hit the switch. I don't know if Emeraldaly is going to mention it, but he actually did the room that way in his first Warpless speedrun. And I'm amazed that he was even able to do it. It took him like 15 minutes, so the time was certainly not a good one. Nothing too special in this room, you just do the solution. This is the last lighthouse puzzle. And here you're expected to go into that area to your left and go through a room with another letter from Mom in it, but it is faster and substantially faster to climb out of the cave hub and access the lighthouse from above as you would in the full any % or 100% runs, where you would warp to the town. It's okay, Emeraldaly. Like I say, I'm amazed you even were able to do it at all. Alright, we've turned on the lighthouse, which means the boats can come into the harbor, including this one, which takes us off to the mountainside that leads to the university. And if you'll remember, our mom said she fled to the university to find her color tools to hopefully become visible again. She also said she stayed at home for many weeks observing Hugh, unable to interact with him. She left a small boy all on his own for, quote, many weeks, unquote. Hashtag best mom.
If a tree stands in the woods and nobody's there to see it, does that tree exist? Does it have colour and form? Does it matter? This journey has been difficult, Hugh. And whilst I have trodden a lost, winding path, I feel no closer to the truth I was after.
I'm super triggered whenever I hear people say or type the word whilst. To me, it seems like a Shakespearean word. Like, people should have stopped saying it in the 1600s or something. Just seems archaic.
You've been alone, and now uprooted, on a journey for my cause. For what? So that I could see the world a little clearer? I do hope, in the end, it was worth it. For both of us.
Shift to purple as we enter this room because there's purple blocks below these spikes here. Once we're clear, we shift to light blue because there's a light blue block, light blue spike, there you can see it, in that ladder shaft. And we have to shift again anyway because the exit door of this room is light blue. And I have only recently, I was a room ahead of myself. I have only recently started doing Modicius' solution in this room. And I've mucked it up. There we go. And I've mucked it up! If I didn't muck it up, I was gonna demonstrate how this solution is pretty good. It only requires 2 color shifts as opposed to mild solution to bounce under, which requires 1, but that one is way easier anyway, more consistent. And when I say I've only recently started doing it, I mean in my practice before this run started. I decided to try it, and wow, it's actually pretty good. So you don't need to go all the way around to get up and over to get that key, just go through the pink swamp. Ride the little bouncy trampolines over to the door. These blocks all have to be the same color, and yeah, this is one of the mechanics I didn't really touch on, is these color-changing blocks. They have to be the same color that isn't red. Orange is fastest. That needs to be any color but red so the laser can go through it. Obviously, just touching it once will change it to orange, which is all we need. Come through here, get this block. Yeah, when I have to do color shifts while pushing or, well, pulling something, it's not so bad while pushing, but while pulling something, I tend to use the index finger of my right hand. There's definitely some potential for weird claw grips out there. Initalics once mentioned to me using his nose. This is a room that is designed to troll players. I am convinced of that fact. It's relatively easy to conclude upon first glimpse of this room that the blocks all need to be the same color, but they actually all need to be the same specific color. Only light blue will work. I've seen many a casual player make them all red or something and come to that last platform, that last door on the top there, and oh crap, I can't get through. I'm sure it happened to me in my casual playthrough. These blocks all need to be the same color that is not pink, since that's the, or red, since that's the, or orange, come to think of it, since that's the color of this conveyor belt here. Green is fastest since one of them already is green. And focus mode engage for this room. Okay. At least I got that one first try. That one is, I mean, I've got a lot of practice at it, so it's not too bad for me at this point, but that one is definitely tough. That solution. You're expected to go up top in that room and do a fairly convoluted puzzle, but you, as I just demonstrated, do not have to. I'm very bad on my own stream at knowing what I'm talking about, 10 seconds ago that somebody's responding to. It's even worse now with the restream delay, so I don't know what problem you're referring to, Modicius.
I remember taking you to lectures. You would crawl to the front of the hall when I wasn't paying attention. Dr. Gray would look down from his lectern, and all his seriousness and authority would wash away. He would pick you up, walk over, and return you to my arms with a smile.
And Modicius uses mouse and keyboard for the run. Hardy421 uses mouse and keyboard. All the other runners use controller.
I buried it. I buried the love that I had for my own ends. I hope after all this, you will see my mistakes for what they are. Yours lovingly, Mum.
There is a strat in this room that, when I was verifying Modicius' most recent PB, blew my mind. It is this. Doesn't look like much, but it is so good! Red? Red? It's a good thing this room is simple because I am not really used to doing the solution. This room is skipped with a death warp, and it's probably the easiest death warp in the entire game. Okay, Uni 2. Time for the run to completely go to hell. Hopefully not, but it very well could. Yep. Whatever, it's fine, not fine. Dang. That's what we were trying to do. Okay, plus RNG. The Monka S intensifies. This is the hardest skip in the game. Damn. I got this first try in practice. Alright. At least I was able to show it. And I may have discovered something new for this skip. Yes! I'm so excited that that works. So I literally just discovered that practicing earlier today, that rounding jump. It's been known for some time that if you jump at that boulder as it's coming at you, that you can't possibly jump over it, that you're always gonna die. But doing a rounding jump, jumping away from it and then over, it seems to make it work every time, as long as you have headroom. So that is a really exciting find, because that room has killed a lot of runs, and it is very late game, so it is kind of heartbreaking to lose a run there. Nothing too tricky here, just run, run, run. Okay. This room has something kind of cool in it that I will show since it's a marathon. Ooh, I almost jumped too early there. Make this dark blue. And you're supposed to shift the dark blue in midair, but if you mess up, there's a pixel here you can stand on. Isn't that fun? I actually discovered that in the old any percent world record. In the actual world record run at the time. I have since lowered that world record. This is a room that is very difficult for a lot of casual players, and even beginning speedrunners tend to struggle with this room. There is a death warp you can do in this room in the any percent run. I've never gotten it in an optimized run. I've gotten it in no reset runs, oddly enough. It is very hard. Not a good platform cycle? Well... Alrighty, home stretch now. Gotta be kidding me. I'll just die and reset the room. I screwed up. Did it again! Different way, but same mistake. So the idea is these first two thwomps need to be their lower color. Okay, now. Alright. God, that was so bad. The third one, you can do the solution where you change the third one to its lower color as well, which would be yellow, but there's no need to do that. I actually find it simpler not to, as well as faster. If you're doing the 100% run, there is a hidden beaker in that room. It should be the last one you collect. Interesting recent find in this room by Modicius is that this room is actually slightly different in the Twitch Prime version of this game. That pressure pad is not there. With it there and the door that the yellow block is now passing through, you can actually get yourself stuck in this room in the Steam version and console versions of this game. That is made impossible in the Twitch Prime version. Makes the room slightly simpler. Thankfully, it doesn't make either version faster than the other. And this is one of those cases I talked about earlier where pulling is better for strategic reasons, because you want to get it on the red and push it back as quickly as possible. Now, the reason it doesn't make a difference, really, is Can I grab the block? Good grief. You still have to pull that block that far, at least, to be able to jump up and get the key. That did not just happen. That did not just happen. See, I'm soft-locked. This is embarrassing. I meant to switch to blue there, and I switched to yellow. Oh, that is extremely embarrassing. Yeah, I feel like I should apologize to the organizers. I have not been doing speedrunning in the last couple of weeks. I've, taken a break from it on my channel. I forgot I was in this until like 2 days ago. And haven't really practiced much at all other than just before the stream going live today. I'm sure this is going to go over estimates. I'm really sorry how terrible this has been. That tassel is not my friend. Alright, this is the last puzzle room, but don't take that to mean it might come in under estimate, because there is a 3-minute long walking around and doing nothing section after this. I'm gonna wait this out. You can jump up past it, but I don't feel confident in my ability of doing that right now. Oh my god. That was the correct move, I just didn't push the dark blue block on the right there far enough. Add that to the list of things I'm happy has never happened in an actual run. And this is probably the main room where if we could spike jump reliably, we could skip the entire room.
Dearest Hugh, it has been too long. You have grown so much. Your mother, I tried to warn her. I thought that exiling her from the university would protect her, would protect you. She did not understand that some people choose not to see. I never stole the ring from her.
Yeah, my PB is 55:45.
I tried to destroy it.
This has to be more than 4 minutes slower than that.
Destroyed her. I now know she had it under control. She knew what she was doing. My intervention shattered the ring, altering your mother's very fabric. My only reprieve is that you will be able to follow in her footsteps, to experience her work firsthand. We do not see things as they are, Hugh. Instead, we see them as we are. Your mother, she has been waiting for you. I expect she will be thrilled to see how far you've come.
And now we do nothing. There's our mom. Happy ending. And welcome to the only dialogue in the game you cannot mash through. Let me fire up the old vessel. This is their house. Where does Mom sleep? This house has one bed and a chair in it, 3 books and a lot of bric-a-brac. Okay, do get ready on time. It's in about 30 seconds. I'll grab this last letter for closure.
P.S. You cannot always control what happens to you, but you can choose how you see it. Now you can see true colour. You must decide if it is for better or worse.
And time.
I hope after all this,
And this
it is for the better.
visage over there of Dr. Gray and Hugh's mom looking into a baby carriage strongly implies, if not stating outright, that Dr. Gray is Hugh's dad. Alright, so that was Hugh. A very, very bad run. I hope you enjoyed the game anyway. Thanks for having me. I guess I'll cut my stream now.